You're on the Movie Girls channel. Do you want to watch the movie Mega Crocodile? Click like now and let's get started. A ship is caught in a storm. The crew is thrown around the deck, but this guy called Kong manages to make it to the captain's cabin. Suddenly the radar goes out and the captain sends Kong to fix it. But because of the rain, the guy gets electrocuted and Kong collapses to the deck. When he looks up, he sees that the ship is heading straight for the rocks. He wakes up on the shore of an uncharted island. After the shipwreck, the bodies of the ship's crew are strewn about, but one man has come to his senses. Soon, the whole crew wakes up. The compass on this island has gone mad. Huge animal bones lie scattered on the shore. A man discovers a clutch of eggs and examines them.
What the hell is this place?
Suddenly, the jaws of a giant crocodile close in on the man's arm. The reptile has come to retrieve its egg and have lunch. The team panics and runs, but a pack of giant crocodiles is waiting for them. The crew fights back with sticks, but the predators surround them. That's not the worst of it. A mega crocodile emerges from the jungle to attack them. It scatters its smaller relatives like tiny lizards. But what kind of monster is this? In the next shot, a group of boys playing football. A tomboy called Bazaar is being called for lunch by his mother. He wants to take his ball home, but his friends retaliate by kicking it further into the rocks. The boy finds it near the sea, but suddenly there is a roar from behind. The last thing he sees is a hungry crocodile. The boys call Luo Khan for help. Something terrible has happened to Bazaar. The whole village has gathered on the shore, and the body of the dead crocodile lies nearby. The boy survives, but ends up in hospital for a long time. Luo recognizes it as a cannibal crocodile from Hell Island, but that's 100 miles away. How did it get ashore? The crowd doesn't believe the man. The adults think he's a common drunk, and they're not far wrong. Later, Luo returns to his ship, but a stranger called Pan is waiting for him. He knows that the drunkard was a famous biologist, but 2 years ago, Luo became a hermit and now lives on this ship. Pan offers him a suitcase full of money in exchange for a favor. The rich woman's brother disappeared with the ship 3 days ago. Their signal has been detected near Hell Island. Luo has been to the island twice, which means he can go back and rescue her brother. This is Madame Kong, the chairwoman of a large company. She offers another suitcase of money for the successful rescue of her brother, but Luo is not interested. After all, Hell Island is called that for a reason. It's home to 3,000 cannibalistic crocodiles, and 2/3 of the island is covered in a poisonous miasma that even a gas mask can't protect you from. The man refuses the deal. In response, the mercenary Steve puts a knife to his throat, but Luo is already aiming a crossbow at him. The girl stops the fight. She says that her brother is a biology student and is doing a scientific study. She has heard that his fiancée also died while doing scientific research there. The drunk agrees to help and avenge his dead girlfriend. In the next shot, they fly to a hellish island infested with bloodthirsty creatures. Luo says that the coast there is surrounded by coral, and that the ship should be looked for on the southern shore. The pilot announces that it's time to disembark. Overboard, the dark island is seen in all its glory. Luo jumps out of the plane without fear. Madame Kong jumps into the sea after him. Together with the boss, 3 thuggish guards have to jump. Only the cowardly assistant Pan hesitated, but he was forced to make the right decision. The group successfully swims to shore. The girl shows Luo a picture of her brother. The last time they saw each other, they had a big fight and haven't spoken in 2 years. Suddenly, from the depths of the island comes a terrible roar. The mercenaries have brought a pile of weapons and suggest that everyone arm themselves, but Luo doesn't need one. He prefers a silent crossbow. They decide to head for the safety of the valley to the south, where the sea wind blows away the miasma. If any of the expedition survived, it would only be there. Luo points out a safe path and the group sets off. But when they reach the shore, they find evidence of a bloodbath. The beach is littered with human body parts. Pan notices a clutch of eggs and goes to investigate, but is stopped by Luo. They're crocodile eggs, not to be tampered with. Madame Kong finds the wreckage of the ship on which her brother disappeared. There can be no mistake, the shipwreck happened here. The woman calls out for her brother, but only the roar of a predator answers. They've got to get out of crocodile territory. The mercenaries found a piece of cloth and a bloody trail nearby. Someone had been dragged here, but it's dangerous to go the same way. There's a poisonous gas area ahead. Just in time, they spot a huge cave. They can take a shortcut here. Inside, the tunnel is covered with vines, among which Miss Kong notices a corpse with an expedition badge. Suddenly it moved. but it was only maggots under the skin. At that moment, the same insect bites the bounty hunter. The carnivorous maggots have already covered Pan's back. These insects can eat them alive, but Luo shoots them down with his lighter. They have to leave now. On the way, maggots fall from the ceiling of the cave onto the humans. This place is crawling with them. In a panic, the guard fires his rifle, but all it does is make a rain of maggots. Luo uses a flask of alcohol and a lighter to set fire to the bloodthirsty insects. They make it to the exit alive. An angry guard blows up the entrance to the cave with a grenade, but the predatory maggots have already got under their skin. That's why this place is called Hell. Luo uses a knife to get the maggots under the girl's skin. Madame Kong notices some hieroglyphs on the blade. On the way, they come across an abnormal crocodile footprint that looks more like a dinosaur's. But how does such a giant find enough food on this island? A single mutation must have made it a cannibal. Maybe that's why the other crocodiles are fleeing the island. On the way, Luo confesses that the hieroglyphs on the blade are the name of his wife, Lin Er. She gave him that knife 2 years ago before the expedition, but Luo was the only one to make it back alive. Searching for the crashed drone, they come to a clearing. Judging by the campfire, someone had been here recently. Luo found Madame Kong's brother's wallet here. Just then, they hear the sound of a struggle nearby. On the riverbank, a man fights off 3 attacking crocodiles. He is traumatized and cannot escape. At the last moment, a hail of bullets rains down on the reptiles. It's the mercenaries opening fire with their rifles. The bullets don't penetrate the crocodile's skin, but at least they scare them away. A rope was thrown to the man to get him out. He mumbled his name, LV, and lost consciousness. Around the campfire, Luo recounts the details of his bride's death by giant crocodile teeth, and Miss Kong reveals how she raised her brother alone after the death of their parents. She wanted to bring Zihao into the family business, but he was only interested in science. That's when Love woke up. Yesterday, he and Miss Kong's brother separated. Zihao was on his way to the east. In the morning, the group went after him. Suddenly, a mercenary was grabbed by a liana and dragged into the bushes. It's a giant predatory rafflesia flower. It launches another attack on the men, but only manages to grab the rifle. The ravenous flower's jaws close and it pulls the trigger. The plant shoots itself from the inside. Luo rushes to the attack and cuts the plants. The guard has taken a poisonous bite, but will survive. They found 5 dead bodies next to the predatory plants. Judging by the bites, these people were killed by a crocodile, but it was 10 times bigger than usual. The hired gun is afraid of a 60-foot crocodile and wants to leave.
I don't want to die here!
The others don't seem to mind running either. Madame Kong realizes that her cronies only want money and throws banknotes at them. But Pan decides to stay so as not to lose his job. In the middle of the jungle, they stumble upon the entrance to an underground bunker. Luo and 2 men volunteer to go in. They enter a lift which takes them to the underground level. They enter a trashed lab. Inside, the team discovers 3 crocodiles. Fortunately, the reptiles have already been eaten, and they manage to scare them off. As they move on, they hear a cry for help. The voice leads them to the scientist, but she seems to have lost her mind. At the slightest touch, the girl falls unconscious, and bugs start crawling out of her body. These creatures were imitating human speech to lure them closer. Suddenly, one of the bugs flew into the air and landed right in Mike's throat. In excruciating pain, he began to fire his rifle, scattering all his friends.
Go!
Just as they have left him alone, a grenade explodes. Meanwhile, someone was approaching the team upstairs. Mercenary George goes to investigate, only to find it was a baby crocodile. But its mother had come for it. The giant creature threw George into the air and swallowed him whole. The shocked people opened fire, but the bullets couldn't penetrate its tough skin. Now the crocodile has turned on them and the team must flee. But the giant is moving too fast. It soon catches up with the group and attacks. Meanwhile, Luo finds a secret compartment in the lab. Down there, they spot a camera. On the video, the scientist talks about a failed experiment. The object swallows the informant. Then the crocodiles got to her as well. LV discreetly downloads secret files from the computer, but is caught by Luo. He found a photo of Luo working in the lab. Who is he really? Luo has to confess. He was an investor in this experimental facility. They were trying to isolate an anti-cancer substance from the blood of mutant crocodiles, and they succeeded, but the mutant they'd created had escaped. The man needs to catch a giant crocodile to complete the cancer cure, so he asks Luo for help. But all he thinks about is money. His greed has already killed many people. Luo wants to report him to the police. In response, Love knocks the crossbow out of his hands and starts a fight. His kung fu master must have been Jackie Chan. Love even dodges arrows. After reaching for the gun, the man shoots a tranquilizer dart at Luo. The bad guy wants to keep his experiments a secret, so he drops the stunned friend. Crocodiles slowly approach him as he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, the team lurks in a ravine and the crocodile prowls nearby. Sooner or later, it will find them. Madame Kong suggests they split up. Mercenary Steve agrees. He shoots Pan in the leg and quickly runs away. The shot draws the crocodile's attention to the hideout. The girl helps poor Pan escape, but the giant crocodile quickly catches up with them. Madame Kong prepares to meet her death, but at the last moment, someone throws a bundle of smoldering grass under the crocodile's nose. This trick scares the giant monster away. The secret savior takes off his gas mask. It's her lost brother, Zi Hao. Now the family is reunited, but the main villain, Elv, is already approaching with a rifle. He ambushes the crocodile, with the Kong family hanging in a net as bait and their henchmen for dessert. Siblings exchange farewells, regretting that they had reconciled earlier. The blood from wound attracts a ravenous predator. The loss of blood causes Pan to lose consciousness, but he is instantly revived by the sight of the mutant. The crocodile tries to take the bait as Elv shoots a tranquilizer dart at it, but this giant is not so easily put to sleep. Zi Hao starts swinging the net and the hunter keeps firing darts at the predator. The crocodile gets fed up and tries to eat Love but falls asleep on the way. The evil scientist unties the basket and dumps the prisoners on the ground. He then approaches the mega crocodile and takes a blood sample from him, but just then the predator opens its eyes. In one swift move, it bites its creator and throws him aside. Now the crocodile has no choice but to snack on a handful of humans. But from behind, a waking Luo fires an arrow at the mutant. The crocodile is forced to hide in the water column, taking Madame Kong with him. His brother wants to save her, but jumping into the crocodile-infested river is just stupid. Luo wants to help Luva, but the scientist dies in his arms. Somewhere in the depths of the island, Miss Kong has woken up. Judging by the piles of corpses, she finds herself in the lair of a mega crocodile. As the girl bandaged her leg, she noticed a wheezing Steve nearby. He is less fortunate. The crocodile has inflicted a fatal wound. The trio on the beach hear Madame Kong's voice on the security headset. She tells them about the crocodile's lair, but just then, the predator returns. The girl pretends to be dead. After waiting for the mutant to feed on human flesh, she whispers goodbye to her brother and leaves Pan in charge of the company. She will not escape from the crocodile's lair, but Luo knows that there are only 3 underwater caves on the island. Based on the river currents, he guesses where the crocodile has taken Madame Kong. Going into the mutant crocodile's lair is madness, but Luo has a plan. The first thing the team does is go down to the underground lab. There they arm themselves with scattered rifles and grenades. Luo also finds barrels of fuel. They take the boat down the river and head for the cave on foot. But at the last moment, Pan refuses to risk his life. He's a big man now. In case they don't come back, Luo leaves him a flare gun. He and Zi Hao set off for the final battle. The crocodile has had enough human flesh and decides to take a nap. Just then, some uninvited guests sneak into the cave. Luo starts shouting at the crocodile and insulting his relatives. The mutant has no patience for this and attacks him, but Kong has already crawled into the cave. He helps his injured sister get out. The mutant realizes he's been tricked and rushes after the humans, but he's had too much to eat and gets stuck in a narrow tunnel. The humans make their way out and get into the boat. The plan seems to be working, but at the last moment, the crocodile comes after them. Suddenly, it leaps from the cliff into the river. Now they could be attacked from anywhere. But they spot the mutant's approach underwater and jump overboard. The mega crocodile throws the boat into the air with a powerful blow. Once ashore, Luo orders Kongs to run away. He stays behind to avenge the crocodile for his dead bride. But suddenly, the crocodile is hit by a powerful shot. Pan has returned and fired his flare gun. He scared the beast away. Together, they run to the cliff. where 5 barrels of fuel have been placed, and the crocodile is already running after them. They split up just before the throw and let the creature knock down the barrels. It's a strike. The crocodile hangs over the cliff, but the rocks can't support its enormous weight, and the mutant goes down. And then Luo throws a grenade. The powerful explosion reverberates around the island, engulfing the crocodile in flames. But the burning creature manages to climb back up. The heroes open fire with 3 barrels, throwing the charred reptile into the abyss. Miss Kong becomes entangled with Liana and slides down, but is caught at the last moment. On the edge of the cliff, the team rejoice at their success. They've cooked the crocodile to perfection. Luo throws the flask of alcohol into the sea, and in the distance the sound of an approaching helicopter can be heard.